NFL news, Ravens add another weapon for Lamar, Deontay Johnson, coming over from the Panthers for a pick swap. Ravens offense most prolific in the league, racking up over 450 yards per game. Deontay, meanwhile, was the Panthers' #1 weapon in an offense that kindly, I'll put it, underachieved Deontay's career. Pretty good. Brew, are you feeling more confident in your Ravens?
Did you say the Ravens have the #1 offense in the league?
For yards per game.
Yards per game? Wow. And with a culture of defense, that team must be like undefeated or something.
The culture of defense.
That team must be crazy good.
I'm holding out hope in that culture of defense. Because, look, Deontay Johnson is a nice player. Nick knows I raved about him when he was with the Steelers. He's a very good receiver. He doesn't hurt them. That's a nice receiving core with Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, not to mention 2 very good tight ends. Like, offensively, they're fine. But here's the thing. I'm judging the Ravens, and Nick knows this, everything by can they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's not going to be a shootout in the playoffs. It's not going to be a 41-38 game like it was just with the Bengals. Last year was 17-10 in the AFC Championship game. So I don't think just improving the offense is going to get it done. And you're definitely not beating Kansas City, no matter how bad Mahomes may look at times, in a passing shootout in the playoffs in a game that matters. So I just want to see them improve the defense. They need to still be looking at defensive backs, looking at maybe another edge rusher. Yep. So that the offense is great. The offense is fine. What are you going to do with that defense?
On that note, if they were going to make a trade with the Panthers, I think Brew would have been more excited by Clowney. You know what I mean? I know Clowney was there last year, obviously. And there still could be work to be done. Here's the thing. Who do the Ravens want to be offensively? That's the question I have. And I think it's a fair question. Because they feel like they are caught on 2 tracks, which is when they bring in Derrick Henry. Yeah. He is way better than I thought he'd be. I think he's even better than, at least a little better than Bruce thought he would be. It was on track for the Eric Dickerson's record, all of this. And when they win games like that, people are like, yes, that's what makes him so dynamic. Lamar throws the ball 18 times but completes 14 of them. It's super efficient, and Derrick Henry is just killing you. And then there's games like last week where Derrick Henry gets 11 carries. They lose to a team they've no business losing to. And the response is, we're adding to our wide receiving core. And I understand Bateman had a bad drop at the end, but that's not why they did this. So I just think they are kind of on parallel tracks offensively. The defense is a separate issue that is a major concern, but this has, to me, doesn't have really anything to do with it. And
I agree with you.
I think that it is odd.
I think their fear, Nick, is that if we get behind, we are going to have to throw the football. But it depends. Like, if it's early, if you're a touchdown, even 10 points behind, you still can run the football.
But I guess my point would be this: whether you're ahead or behind, aren't the people you want on the field? You're going to have 5 offensive linemen in Lamar, so that's 6 spots. You have 5 other spots. Derrick Henry, or if it's a passing down, Gus or your secondary running back, right? So you're going to have a running back. Justice Hill, not Gus Edwards. Pardon me, he's not on the team anymore. I would think in most spots, you're most dangerous then with Edwards and Likely, your 2 tight ends, and your 2 other receivers.
The 12 personnel.
The 12 personnel. And so how often do we think the Ravens, in high leverage spots, their best option is to go with 3 wide receivers? None, to me, they are all, for all 3 of these guys, if they're your number 3, Zay, Bateman, or Deontay Johnson. If they're your number 3 receiver, you have an awesome receiving core. If they're your number 2 receiver, you're fine. And if they're your number 1 receiver, you're really lacking. Yeah. So it's just, does that make sense? Like,
neither one's a true number 1 at this point.
So it's like it's injury insurance. I get it. I just think the Ravens ultimately are going to lose a playoff game where Lamar throws the ball 32 times, and people are going to say, why didn't they run it more? And it's like, well, I don't know. Our trade deadline acquisition.
Okay. Let's settle down here. I like how no matter what the Baltimore Ravens do, it's wrong, right? I mean, even if they got someone to boost up their defense, it would be, is this enough to make their issues, to resolve their issues? And everything everyone else does is always great and amazing, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, their defense has been carrying them And so, you know, they get an offensive weapon or they got another defensive weapon and another defensive piece, I should say. And it's just the greatest move ever. They continue to just do everything amazing. And now the Ravens want to boost their offense. And I don't know, this doesn't really make sense. What are they doing? What are they doing? Anytime you can add offensive weapons, it's going to help your incredibly dynamic quarterback in Lamar Jackson. And so if you want to say, well, what does this do for high leverage situations? Let's just play the game where it doesn't, because he won't be on the field or he won't be utilized. Let's just say that that's true. Well, then the point is to minimize the intensity and frequency of these, quote, high leverage situations, right? It's to be able to put up points. And to say that offense wasn't the problem last year against the Chiefs in the 17-10 game, I don't even understand that statement. The score was 17-10. If the Ravens scored more points and they win that game, like, what are you talking about? You mean the name of the game to beat the Chiefs was to hold them to under 10 points? That's what the Ravens would have had to have done? No, the name of the game was to be, let's get more offensive production. And I agree, run the ball in that situation, but it was obviously they needed points. They needed to score. They weren't good enough offensively. Right? So this idea that now that this won't somehow improve them, or that there should be concerns, or now they're confused about their identity, that's just absurd to me. That really is absurd to me. They have an insanely threatening, awesome running offense. You think that boosting up your passing game won't be complementary to all of this and won't improve it full circle and make them potentially a more complete, threatening team? Of course it will. Now, I do believe they're still going to make other acquisitions and other moves defensively, because they need to do that as well. But this is just one of the moves that they're making. And it is both injury prevention. It is also just to boost this offense even more. And right now, there probably isn't a ton of moves that they can make that will immediately turn this defense to a top 5 defense. So then you do double, triple, quadruple down on your offense, on what makes you special, which is what the Chiefs literally just did for themselves. It's what lots of teams do, right? If you look at what makes you special and you say, let's make it even more special. Let's make it even more resilient, and let's add some pieces to try to boost up our floor for some of our deficits. So this is what the Ravens are doing. So to just automatically question it or have concerns about it does not make sense to me. I think he will fit this team very well. He will fit from a cultural perspective. It's not going to be this big, give me the ball, I'm the star here, let's go. It's not going to be disruptive. Lamar's not going to feel that he has to force the ball to him, or that it's going to be this whole big thing. He's going to be grateful to be in Baltimore, to be on a winning franchise, to be on a team that can legitimately compete for a championship, right? Like, he's going to be ready for that. And it's just overall going to hopefully open up the field for everyone involved, not even just Lamar Jackson. It should hopefully help make it a more balanced offense, so it is not maybe so 100% reliant on running the ball. It's not to say that they're going to get away from running the ball, because that is the source of their special. But to me, this ends up being a net positive way more than it is a net negative. And that's ultimately what you're looking for here. It's how can we improve the quality? Are you saying that this was the most pressing issue that the Ravens had? I can understand that argument, that if you want to say no, that's fine. I get that argument. But to act like that this won't be beneficial, or that this won't help them in the long term, that's where I think is wrong. Now, if at the end of the day, this is the only move they make, then I think some of that criticism is more warranted, right? That I think would be fair, but I don't believe that will be the case. So to kind of just question this move, or just automatically look at it through a negative lens, for me, does not add up. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Ravens acquiring Diontae Johnson for a pick swap? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, it's getting some discussions, it's getting some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.